Hello again, YouTubers. Ultimate SpongeBob 101 back here again on the SpongeBob channel for another The Patrick Star Show episode review video. In this video, we are reviewing episode number 10, Just in Time for Christmas and Klopnodian Heritage Festival. The synopsis states, Patrick travels through time to find last-minute Christmas gifts for his family. Also, the Star family learns the cultural traditions of the old country. Without further ado, let's get into the first episode here. Just in time for Christmas happens, well, in time for Christmas, right? So Cecil Star is seen starring the episode cutting down an electrical pole. I'm not sure how that even works, but instead of decorating Christmas trees in the Star house, we have a electric pole, and they decorate it with lights, of course, and some kitchen utensils. And Grandpat tops the star, or Grandpat is the star of the show, I guess, getting electrocuted on top of the pole. So yeah, basically this episode centers around Patrick's journey via the time travel machine, the time machine, to procure gifts for his family members, because in past years he's always been giving them literal trash from the garbage. And so with the encouragement of Ouchie, he goes into different areas or different time periods and places. The first stop is to procure a gift for Cecil, and this brings Patrick to a world in which we see, once again, Captain Quasar and Patron, if you remember those guys from one of the earlier episodes. So in this situation, Captain Quasar is attempting to actually get a Christmas tree by, taming it or battling it in some way, instead of accepting Patron's advice to use a laser razor. And, since the laser razor isn't taken up by Captain Quasar, Patrick shows up, asks for a Christmas present, and guess what? Patron gives Patrick that razor, so-called razor, and Patrick's pretty happy. So first item complete, and this is when we have the recurring thing in this episode, which is Patrick gets constantly kissed by everyone that he encounters because he's wearing a cap with a mistletoe. And unfortunately, when Captain Quasar is confronted with the trees, he begs for that laser razor, and Patron's just like, oopsie. Back in the Star house, Patrick whips out a toilet paper roll with his drawings on it. Imagine if Nickelodeon released toilet paper with these patterns on it. I think that would be absolutely hilarious, but I would actually buy it. Okay, so the next stop is in the sort of prehistoric times, where he goes to this farm that's owned by a prehistoric version of Old Man Jenkins here. And Old Man Jenkins' thing here is, or Caveman Jenkins' thing here is fire. He keeps saying fire for some reason. And I also noticed that there's a lot of emphasis on butts in this episode, like, your posterior. For some reason, Patrick likes to use it. So yeah, anyway, he reaches this prehistoric farm and attempts to steal a giant chicken's egg, thinking it's a dinosaur egg. So yeah, he actually gets chased and even gets kissed by the chicken before slamming the time travel door shut, of course. And then we have his pants being functioning like a printer. And yeah, I thought this was... Okay, seriously, this episode is just epic. But anyways, he imagines what his mom would tell him that she wants, and he decides on getting her a tattoo at the carnival. And do you notice that right there? See the terrifying Alaskan bullworm? Yeah. And also we have this little mermaid monkey or sea monkey sort of thing that starts following Patrick and eventually becomes a gift for Squidina. So back to the tattooed fish here. Patrick comes up with a plan to draw an apple on his belly and get the tattoo on the tattooed fish's back to hop over to Patrick's belly. Yes, it's a cartoon, so, And we also have a cameo here of Mrs. Puff. All right, so Christmas is accomplished, right? We got all the gifts for the family members. So the next morning, when it is time to open up the gifts, everyone is pretty surprised, including Grandpat, by the way. I haven't really been mentioning this because I would be repeating it every single time, but Grandpat's basically like 1 million years old. He's been in every single time period, experiencing every single thing. We will see this later in the next episode as well. So yeah, everyone's pretty happy with their gifts, and unfortunately this is when a taxi smashes right through the time machine's door, and all the people who Patrick stole the gifts from arrive to claim their dues, right? So this is when Patrick whips out a bunch of gifts And, they're actually pretty happy with the gifts. Basically, the garbage from the trash, which was really hilarious. And, of course, the episode concludes with Patrick still questioning why everybody wants to kiss him. And when Squidina says, if you don't want people to kiss you, you shouldn't wear a cap with a mistletoe on it. And Patrick's like, oh, I thought I was just handsome. I gotta give it to him, man. I mean, the writers did a great one on this. So 8.5 out of 10 is definitely one of the better Patrick Star Show episodes. And overall, at the end, we have this great picture here. Of course, this will be the thumbnail. But yeah, overall, really nice episode. It's a great Christmas episode, but of course, we're reviewing this. I'm recording this in March of 2022, so it's kind of like off season. Moving on to Klopnodian Heritage Festival. This episode is a doozy and in a really good way. Let's get on with it. So Perch Perkins introduces the Klopnodian Heritage Festival, and it is revealed that Bunny Star and of course by connection Grandpat Star are from this Klopnodian kind of heritage. And pretty cool because I'm not sure if this has been actually confirmed like on the synopsis or anything, but I never really knew whether Grandpat was the father of Bunny or Cecil. But anyways, clearly it is Bunny. There's this part where Grandpat talks about his glorious history of commanding a force in some kind of conflict, but it turns out they lost and his only legacy is Grandpat Cream Puffs, the flavor of failure. This was hilarious. And this is the first of many little funny things here. So there's this like food exhibition, 100-year-old stale bread. We also have a cameo of Fred, the My Leg guy, right? With this phony baloney. It's a good like a play on the word, I gotta say. And then also the rock soup. And then this is part where there's Klopnod t-shirts, which says, "Kiss me, I'm a Klopnodian." And this causes a lot of people to kiss Cecil to his horror. Alright, so meanwhile, Grandpa has this little thing here where he appears for a short while and then shows up at the very end of the episode. Basically, he wants to have his sort of revenge on something, and this kid just throws one of these cream puffs at him and he falls into the garbage. So that aside, basically the point of the main plot of this episode involves Bunny getting Squidina and Patrick initiated as Klopnodians, right? So they had to go through these a whole bunch of trials, and the first of which is a sweating or perspiration trial, in which Patrick can't seem to sweat because he's sweat shy, and I thought this was really silly. Okay, I mean, sweat shy, really? Okay, and for Squidina, the first trial is fly swatting, so apparently that is a tradition. Yeah, so it's pretty funny like how all the ladies are just swatting all the flies, and when Squidina has one job to swat one fly, and the fly turns on her, gets hold of the fly swatter, and starts swatting her instead. Seriously, guys, you gotta watch this episode. So the next second trial for Patrick is basically Cecil holds his pole, and Patrick is supposed to procure that little circle and star that you see there and drop them into the box on the ground. And this is insanely hilarious because Patrick manages to mess this up so much that he literally, first of all, takes the red circle object and smashes it into the box, creating a square. A square. I mean, I'm laughing here, but seriously, this was hilarious. And the guy's like, I didn't even know he had a square hole. And for the star, he manages to smash himself into the box and create literally a giant star hole. So kind of passed the trial, but didn't. The second trial for Squidina is to fold this tablecloth flag and throw it up on a flagpole and make sure it doesn't unravel, which doesn't really make any sense because, when you usually want a flag to unravel and like be a flag, right? Yeah, that didn't work out. And so the final trial is to do all those things in front of a massive audience, basically as part of this performance concert or some kind of thing. And look at here, Patrick and Squidina are just like stage fright right there. So it's pretty hilarious because they fail at every single thing. The fly swatting thing doesn't work out. The whole thing where you throw the star and the circle down. Nope. Squidina literally uses the flag as a tablecloth because she says it is a tablecloth. And then finally, Bunny Star tells Patrick to sweat, and Cecil literally has to... Oh, by the way, first of all, they literally bring out a barbecue grill, to put Patrick on it so that he will sweat. Like, I'm pretty sure that would cause Patrick to be barbecued rather than cause him to sweat. But, you know, I guess they're in the water, so maybe the water cools his bum down, huh? Cecil asks for some privacy for Patrick, and he ends up flooding the whole place and starting to sweat like crazy. So like a literal fountain, which I thought as well was insanely hilarious. So then finally, Pat shows up again in his so-called battle gear, which is like a whole bunch of trash, and he is easily chased away by the lady instructors of the Klopnodian family. At the end of the episode, we have Squidina turning that little lone fly into her pet, and she says it's easier to walk it rather than swat it, which is, I guess, true in this case. I will have to give it a 9 out of 10. This is probably the first episode that I almost fell off my chair laughing, and I did laugh consistently as I watched through this episode for the first time. So really great episode. Comment below what you guys thought about Klopnodian Heritage Festival as well as Just in Time for Christmas. But yeah, there's this ending about the quartz for armpits, which I thought was really strange, but you know, I can discount it because there were plenty of jokes in this episode that really made me very happy to be watching this episode. So overall, great bunch of episodes here. Make sure to subscribe, like, favorite, concept, keep it right here on SpongeBob 101, and I'll see you guys in the next, SpongeBob video in general. See you guys then. Bye!